Hi, Jilly Bean.
Hello, Lisa.
Hello, how are you two?
Oh, we are great.
Fine-tuned.
Fine-tuned females of all persuasions, welcome to our next episode. Today, we have a very special guest, Lisa Taitleman, and we're going to be talking about female empowerment, especially how it pertains to outdoor hiking and activity. She runs a program called Finding Your Trail, and we're going to talk all about that right after we get to some viewer questions. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Okay, so with no further ado, this is like the shortest intro in vodcast. Shortest intro in vodcast history. I think I just won. Okay.
All right.
Beautiful.
Well done.
We're going to get right into it. So I've been asked, what should I do first, cardio or strength training?
Right.
And I think a lot of women, I mean, you go to a gym, right?
I go to a gym.
People kind of wonder, you know, I teach a bunch of classes, and then some of the classes are weight training, and then some women will come up to me after and say, should I do cardio now? Mm-hmm. I'm like, do you want to do cardio now? So there's really not a simple answer, or if you want to look at it the other way, it's a very simple answer. There is no right way to do it. Right. You have to think about what your goal is. If your goal is to get stronger, you want to make some more muscle, which, you know, as fine-tuned females over 40, even over 50, muscle is the key to keeping our metabolism up. So I would definitely recommend that you save your energy to be able to lift. Now, cardio is also good for just calorie management, but I wouldn't recommend that cardio be your only form of workout. And that's the big problem that women get into. They spend all of their time, they have maybe 75 minutes to work out, right? They go to the gym, they get on one of their machines, they get their little sweat on, and then they have like, oh, I've got 10 minutes left to like lift some weights. That is not gonna work. So if you really wanna see results in your overall muscles, you need to spend more of your energy and attention on your weight training. Now, what you can do, and what I always recommend, and my glib answer is do them together. Huh? Do intervals, like if you're taking a boot camp type of class, like some of the things I teach. Intermix do 5 minutes of cardio, high intensity or moderate intensity, then lift your weights for a few minutes and get back on, do your cardio, then lift your weights, or just mix it up with a machine or body weight exercises. So that's absolutely the best way, because I think even you've noticed better results.
I do, and I actually prefer the mixing it up because it's not too much of one thing or the other. It's a nice blend.
Yeah, watch one of our videos on the channel, which is our 10-minute circuit of mixing in the trampoline with strength training. So that's the best way to go. But if you really just, you know, you're going to be watching a TV show on your machine, and then you're only going to set aside 10 minutes, make sure that your cardio time is really good cardio time, because you're not going to get benefits unless you're pushing it and doing intervals. So don't just go on and do steady state. The latest research shows that steady state cardio training, meaning you're working at level 5 for an hour, is not as effective as doing the same amount of time or even less time where you mix it up between high intensity and low intensity intervals. And that's been proven time and time again. And 3 more studies just came out this year, depending on when you watch this, that proves it even more so. Now, if you're just going to do weight training, fantastic. You might not, if you're wearing a monitor, you might not see the same calorie burn within that hour as you would with cardio, but that's because with weight training, you get the afterburn. So the calories continue to burn after. It's called EPOC. I won't bore you with science. Okay, I'll bore you with science. It's the excess post-exercise oxygen consumption, the EPOC. And that's technically afterburn. So after your weight training workout, your calories continue to burn. So you may very well be burning more calories over the course of that day from exercise than you would doing cardio alone. So I don't suggest that you do one before the other. That doesn't really matter. It's where are you going to focus your attention. And whichever you're going to focus your attention on, really hit it hard. So if you're lifting weights, go as heavy as you possibly can maintain good form on, and do interval training, whether it's cardio or whether it's weight training. And some people actually do better when they do a circuit. So if a circuit's your style, do that too. We've got all kinds of videos on my Jill Brown Fitness channel and all kinds of videos on our Fine-Tuned Female channel. So check out the workouts. Tata, you're up.
I'm up. Well, mine's not as intense as yours, but I had a friend recently ask me a question, and she said, you know, she's turning 60, and she's noticed her hair has thinned quite a bit. And I don't know if this is a menopause-related issue that women have. Like, do we lose our hair more when we, you know, because I know our skin gets less elastic, and a lot of things happen to us as we age, and we lose collagen. I hear that the hair loss is another big issue that these women have. So my friend was asking me what to do, and I know there's certain treatments, like you had mentioned earlier, with laser that you can, you know, they have laser treatment that stimulates hair growth in your hair. people can get hair implants, which I wouldn't do. That's too extreme. But my oldest school remedy for this kind of problem is to take a supplement called biotin. And sometimes biotin and folic acid combination works really well. The only thing is, it does take a while. You only notice a little difference after 3 months of use, and you have to take about 10,000 mcgs, micrograms, for it to really be strong enough. I mean, if you're taking a very light dose, it'll never work for you. It also helps your nails get stronger. So it's all around really good for you, and it's not really harmful to you. You can't really take too much of it.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I checked it out.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, of course, if you're going to have a whole bottle of anything is toxic, I wouldn't swallow a bottle of biotin.
Yeah.
That's not good for you. But if you just take the recommended dosage.
Yeah. So what about, because we're not doctors and we're not allowed legally to give medical advice, what I definitely would suggest is that if you take a multivitamin, check and see how much biotin is on there.
Right.
Yeah, and then I would also check with your doctor and make sure you're not getting too much, because if you get too much of one mineral, it can interact.
Right. Well, I'm saying if you have no medical predisposition to any problems and you're pretty well good, you can always check with your doctor to make sure. But biotin's pretty safe.
I've been taking it on and off, and I had this one nail that has gotten really soft ever since. You ever get gel manicures?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Oh, no.
You're smart. Pull your mic closer to you.
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, pull closer to your face.
Okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's not a man. It's okay if it can invade your personal space.
Okay.
I had the last gel manicure I had.
Yeah.
I peeled some of it off, and my nail has been thin.
Very damaging to the nail.
Yes.
Very damaging.
Yeah, and I also don't like the light, the ultraviolet light that your hands go in, because it's aging, and I never did like the idea of the whole gel.
I only do it when I have a shoot, because I want to maybe get my nails done the day before, and the way I am, such a klutz and lifting weights and banging things around all the time, and I am not very, what's the word I'm looking for? Dainty. And I carry things, or twist. I mean, I've got calluses all over my hands.
Right.
So I usually wind up getting a gel manicure if I'm going to be, doing a shoot. But I don't mean this shoot. I'm not doing my nails. No one can see them. Can you see them?
Maybe you can consider it.
Can't even see them.
I don't know.
I didn't notice your nail was thin either.
My manicurist won't do a gel on me. She says my nails are too thin and soft.
So I'm taking biotin because of that. There you go.
There you go.
And there you have it. So that wraps that up nicely.
It's just a supplement, and a recommendation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's bring in Lisa and talk about something else that's really good for you, which is just exercising outdoors
in nature.
In nature, and being with other women and bonding.
Yes.
So tell me about what you do.
So I created a hiking program called Finding Your Trail. It was 23 years ago. I lost my mom at a very young age to cancer. She was only 58 when she died, and I'm turning 56 in a few weeks. So when I think about how young she was, she had a lot of life left to live. And I was really devastated and paralyzed when she died. I was very close to her, and I had a hard time getting out of bed, and I was just getting married, and I really was absolutely traumatized and paralyzed. I didn't know what to do and who to turn to. So
was it sudden?
She was diagnosed 9 months before she died. It was very fast.
Wow.
And so by the time they found it, it was too late. And so I watched her go through this devastating disease, and she had a lot of stress in her life. And I think that the loss of her was really is a very big reason why I'm doing what I'm doing today. So what happened was, a friend of mine called me. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
A friend of mine called me and asked me to get out of bed, get out of the house, and get out on a hike with her. And that hike changed my life. It changed the trajectory of my life.
Wow.
Because I found being out in nature and being with her and just being connected in that space, I found peace, and I found I was starting to really heal and feel alive again. So I've been hiking for 20 years now, and a lot alone. I hike a ton alone because I think I needed to find out what hiking had to teach me about myself, about my relationships, about my relationship with my mom and my dad. It really taught me such a great deal about who I am as a person, and I started to feel alive again. And I really wanted to share this experience of being grounded and being surrounded by beauty and fresh air and mountains. And it's just a magical feeling to be in nature. And I wanted to shout out this feeling and this experience that what hiking did for me to women, mainly women. I work with women mostly.
Yeah. Do you have siblings or anybody you could have shared this grief with?
I have a brother. We shared it together. But for me, this was my moving therapy, I call it. It was something that I found mind-body connection, and I fell into this wellness field from this whole experience. And I couldn't wait to share this with others. So what I did was, I've been a stay-at-home mom for 19 years.
Wow.
And I watched my babies grow up into amazing people.
Right.
And after, my daughter, like a couple years ago, she's leaving to go off to college in the fall, empty nest coming up.
Yeah.
I really started feeling this pull to create something and to make a difference in this life and create a ripple effect. And so I went back to school a couple years ago to become a health coach through Health Coach Institute. And it was there that I found my trail. And it was it gives me goosebumps saying that, because I found the most incredible tribe of people that I had ever met in my life that are all like-minded healers and spiritual and givers and just want to help each other in any way we can. And it was just being in that, you mentioned Tony Robbins earlier, just being in a room with these people is, if only the world would was filled with people like this, it would be a way more peaceful world we live in.
That's a real blessing to find that.
I don't try to sell the whole Tony Robbins thing. I've just been to like 3 of his things.
Yeah, I've been to him also.
Oh, you have? Yeah. My fiance always was doing his books and everything.
Yeah.
And then finally he's like, you need to go do some of this stuff live, because I'm all kinds of crazy. All kind, not just one kind.
Yeah.
And so he brought me there, and I do all these self-help books and all kinds of other things on my own.
Yeah.
But exactly what you said, there's a whole different story between reading it, because I read the books, and I've got like every type of self-empowerment book, and you got to reach a little for those waters.
Little reach for the water.
And you didn't offer her wine?
I didn't know if you wanted wine.
No, that's later.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
later.
That's later.
Oh no, well, yeah, our mutual friend Treva, she was doing the shots. So
Well, she was doing the
I love
tequila. Yeah.
Treva. Go Treva. I'll do that later, but not during this interview.
But I digress, as I often do, because we're women. And what was I talking about? Just kidding. Senior moment.
Yeah. So the hiking, the mindfulness, and the tribe. So
in a group, it's a whole different story. You can read about what you need to do for your mind, but once you physically put it to work, physically, it's a whole different thing.
Exactly. So what I learned from this experience was I was really scared to death to go out on my own, because I've been a stay-at-home mom, and I was thinking, who would take me seriously after raising my 2 kids, and now all of a sudden I'm a health coach. And I had a struggle with that, because it's the lies we tell ourselves. We can't do something, or we're not going to be successful at something, or we're going to fail. It's all that loop in our head that was really starting to creep in. And I said, you know what, I'm going to do this anyway, because I know in my heart I can help other women. Yeah. I know what this experience did for me, and I know that I can share this with others. And through this health tribe of women, a fellow health coach said to me, I think what you need to do is incorporate what you love to do so much, which is hiking, into a program where your authentic self will shine, your story will shine, and you will attract others that are going through challenges, struggles, divorce. And that's exactly what happened. I started this program January of 2018, and I've taken over 100 women through this program.
Wow.
That's great.
And it's been life-changing for me and for all these women that I've met that I would have never met before if I didn't start this.
Yeah, so I had a question, like, did you ever hike with your husband?
I do. I hike with my husband.
So he supports this kind of, like, part?
Yeah, he's a huge mountain biker. So we both love the mountains.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So we... actually, when he's hiking with me, he kind of wishes he was on a bike the whole time, but he's like, I'll do this with you on Sundays. So we take our dog and we go hiking on Sundays.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's just, like I said, I didn't feel like this anywhere else. And I think what I learned from this experience is that I found my voice, and that through my voice, I help other women find their voice and their own path. Because what it is, the reason I called it Finding Your Trail is to help us all find that certain something that makes your heart sing and that drives you to get out of bed every day and that makes you really want to make a difference. And for me, this has done that for me in so many ways. I bolt out of bed every day. I cannot wait to meet these women at the bottom of the trails.
So what do? You just like meet and then you just start walking, or you start talking, or how does this work?
Right,
So
what's a program like?
We all meet at the bottom. I have 2 groups on Tuesdays and Thursday mornings, and we all meet at the bottom of the trail at 9 a.m. And I do like a 5-minute nugget, an intention I set. So I set intentions for the 6 weeks, once a week. And so I talk about that intention when we meet for about 5 minutes, because really this is about them and not so much about me. I'm giving them kind of homework to talk about for that. Like I'll send it out the Sunday before the hike, and I'll tell them what we're going to be discussing, so they have time to, think about it and analyze it, so that they're not put on the spot when they get there. So when we get there, they already know what the intention is. So we will talk about that intention. We hike up the mountain. When we get to the top, I do a meditation that I partnered up with a spiritual healer in LA, and she designed each meditation to go along with my intentions. So I do a 20-minute meditation at the top, and then after we do a share, and that's when all the magic happens, because everyone has 5 to 7 minutes to talk about what this intention means to them. And I'll give you an example. So week 1 is about, I call it clearing the clutter. And so we all have to get rid of something in our life that is not serving us, whatever that is. It could be something so small like a hangnail, or it can be something really big as a toxic relationship.
An entire person.
An entire person,
Human being,
right? So whatever that intention is for each person, I have them write down on a rock something that they want to let go of, and then I give them another rock and they write down something they want to manifest. And so we get to the top of the mountain and we do this. We all hold hands together on the top and we throw off the rock together. That is something we want to let go of. And it's something happens when you physically throw it. It's like you feel this release that, I let it go. I breathe it out. And then we come from this place of empowerment. So the first week is really about letting go, clearing the clutter, whatever that means to you in your environment. And the rest of the weeks build upon that. And we still always come back to clearing clutter, because really we're always clearing clutter in our life. Nothing is ever perfect. We always need to get rid of something that's not serving us. So each week builds upon that. And it's all about finding your trail. At the end, they become from week 1 to week 6 is a very different woman, completely different woman.
And then that just time of sharing your story with other women is so bonding. It's so healing.
So healing.
That's probably the most healing part is just,
I can definitely relate to losing a mother at 58. I lost mine at the same age.
Oh, you did?
I did, and
I'm
it was
sorry.
sudden. It was unexpected, and I'm an only child. So for me, it was very, very heavy, and you understand the whole process.
I do.
Like, you don't want to get out of bed. You just don't feel like anything's left. It's like half of
Exactly.
you has been removed.
Yes.
It's a hard thing, and I did other things. I went back to Canada to spend time with my father in the country, so we did walk a lot and talk a lot, and I kept myself busy all the time, because if I stopped, my mind would set in with all that negativity.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now, where was your father?
My father and I, we've never been that close. And it was an unfortunate thing. He was around, but not really around.
Okay.
And so for me, it was my brother and I going through this together. And I was very alone. I felt very alone, because a lot of my friends all had their moms, and we were all getting married at the same time.
Especially when I got married right after as well, just like
a lot of similarities.
And it was so bittersweet.
Yeah.
Bonding moment, right?
Bonding moment.
Yeah.
See that?
Yeah.
See how women are?
But I do understand that, and it's just like, you feel like you're on your wedding day, but your guts have been kicked in.
Yeah.
Because there's something big missing.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
Would this ever happen on the Joe Rogan podcast? I don't think so. This was a moment.
Let us know, Joe. Let us know.
See, this is how we relate to each other, because women, we need to be heard. and understood. That's what women need.
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
and
absolutely.
so I'm giving them this space to do that. And I think when that happens, you get what hiking does. It forces you to be in the moment, because we have so much going on in our lives every day. We have all this chatter going on and all the stuff in our environment. And when we're out there, there's nothing that matters except being in the moment and being present. And it forces you to connect and share and be together and be real with yourself and show up for yourself, because that's a big thing, showing up for ourselves as women. We're always showing up for everybody else. Our kids, our husbands, even our dogs. Our pets come first, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I know my dog, my husband's like, am I fourth on the totem pole? I mean, the dog and the kids, and then I come maybe,
Yeah,
you know, because
exactly.
it's like all these other people come first.
And where do you come?
And we come kind of last.
Right.
I was cleaning dingleberries off of Louis today.
Dingleberries.
Yeah, Jim walks the dog. Fine. He gets up and walks the dog because I always have to be somewhere in the morning.
Yeah.
Jim gets to work from his home office,
Yeah.
which he's man spread over the entire house. And so he's in charge of morning dog walk, and then we trade off nighttime dog walk.
Yeah.
And sometimes I give it to Anita. We do it together.
Yeah.
And then he does, no one cleans off the dingleberries but me.
Well, what about me? I'm walking my dog with my husband.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, Sammy's taking a crap. And I'm like, that's nice. It's like, yeah, and he walks away. I'm left to be picking it up.
Right?
You know?
Yeah.
Seriously.
No, it's true. So I
That's
think
what we
what
do.
these women crave is this time that they realize that they have actually shown up for themselves. And
Yeah.
I think that is what is so important about this. It's not just so much about showing up for each other, but for yourself, and giving this safe space, this sacred space. I have everybody sign waivers, because what we talk about is very personal, and a lot of vulnerability happens, and we keep it on what happens on that mountain. It's kind of like what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. What happens on that mountain stays on the mountain.
We are the opposite.
Yeah.
Whatever you say here goes on air.
Yeah.
Whatever happens here, everybody knows.
Everybody knows.
All right. I'm not talking about anything that happens in my program, just the whole gist of it.
We're
Yeah.
quite unfiltered, though.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So it's been an incredible experience getting to know all these women, and we still all are connected because we all are on a group chat. Each group is on a group chat, so we all talk to each other all the time. Like, I just did this from week 3. I wanted you all to know this happened, and it's just like so amazing when, you know, they bring it up. So it made an impact on them, and I'm making a difference in these women's lives, and that for me is everything.
Well, let's talk about something that Tata and I were discussing yesterday. We live in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure where you hike, because you live in the Palisades. So for anyone, 2 questions. So first, very quickly, for anyone who's either going to be visiting Los Angeles or who lives in Los Angeles, what are your favorite trails?
So I usually go all through the Santa Monica Mountains because you have those beautiful ocean views.
Yeah.
I go through West Ridge, Temescal, Paseo Miramar, Los Leones. There's 2 in Topanga that are super. They're our favorite hikes of all. They're called Eagle Rock and Red Rock. They're right across the street off Topanga.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever visited those. And there's a couple more, Amalfi, and I think I'm forgetting one of them.
Well, you said, you did Los Leones.
Los Leones, yeah.
That's
And
steep.
Temescal.
Okay, and Temescal, beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, so if anyone who's visiting Los Angeles, check out any of those hikes. And then the other question we were discussing yesterday is, what about people with fear, like afraid of mountain lions, afraid of, well, now that we have bears here, but
Rattlesnakes.
where you grew up,
Yes,
and
that's-
then, like there's been
Well,
a
I
lot
used
of,
to be afraid to walk up north in the country on the road alone because I was afraid we had black bears around.
Yeah.
So I would be afraid to walk even during the day sometimes, in
Yeah.
the spring when they're having their babies.
and you
whatnot.
said you had a friend who, when you first moved out here, you went on a hike, and she was afraid to like cross over one of the trails for some
Yeah,
reason.
in the Palisades, we went on a hike, and there was a little narrow section of ledge where it was it was a drop, and she just wouldn't go on that ledge. She just couldn't go past the ledge.
Go past the ledge. That's like a phrase that you use. So what happens is the ones that have fears. It's interesting. Most of them do not hike alone. I would say 90% of the women I take through there said they have never, a lot of them have never even hiked these trails. So I find it so surprising that they've never hiked. We have the most glorious hikes. And it's because they don't want to hike alone, and I understand that. So they said that most of them, they don't have anyone to go with. So I think that
Yeah, I think that's a big
being
thing. Yeah.
together and me kind of holding them accountable to show up with the group, their fears kind of go to the side because they know that there's other women there to help them. Like, you know, we have a lot of girls who are intimidated to get to the top. And once they get there, you know, they keep telling themselves, I can't do it, I'm out of shape, I can't. But they do it every single time. And there's something to be said for that moment when they get to the top and we're all high-fiving them. It's like that fear just completely, you know, dissipated because it was like they made it to the top. And so snakes is a big one.
Well, I mean, you've hiked alone for so long.
Yeah,
like what has been your scariest encounter on your own?
I say seeing snakes, but I haven't seen that many. Honestly, I've seen 3 in all the years.
Rattlesnakes?
That's it.
Yeah, that's about how many I've seen.
Right?
I've seen 3.
Yeah, and that's not a lot considering how many hikes I've done.
Because you also go out at 9, like you said.
Yeah.
You'll see
Sometimes
them
earlier.
more. Yeah, you'll see them more at like 6:37 in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
and now they come out more with the heat.
Yes.
Oh, they
so
do.
I don't do a summer session because of that. Cause
Yeah, it's too hot.
There's more.
Yeah.
I keep hearing people are seeing them right now.
Yeah, I hear that too.
And I mean, the scariest thing that's ever happened to me was that seeing a rattlesnake or seeing someone fall. I haven't seen anyone, thank God, get hurt in my groups, but I've seen people fall, and you know, anything can happen anywhere you go. So
But I mean, you drive your car and
you take a risk
every
right
day's
when you get
a
into your
risk.
car every day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Especially in this city.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you walk out your door, it's a risk. You don't know what can, you know.
Exactly.
So do you find that you talk to women who have not taken your program, who are afraid to do it because they're afraid of nature? And one of the reasons I wanted to live in LA was, you know, I was a city kid. I grew up in Manhattan on the Lower East Side. Then we moved to Queens, and you know, my high school looked like a prison. It was just like, you know, like this color brick building, you know, but brick, you know.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, it was just like creamy white with green linoleum. It was just
an institution.
It was an institution,
Right.
and my high school was actually bigger than my college. It was anyway. So I was just a city kid, you know, and we didn't even have a high school football program, you know, with greenery because some kid died on the football team, so they canceled the football program right before I started. I'm like, so there's like no nature for me.
Yep.
And so when I moved out here, I was very intimidated. I wanted to get into it, and I did, but I was very intimidated in the beginning because so many people I knew, they were like, oh, well, you know, we're going to be, you know, surfing in the morning, and then we're going to go run up Runyon Canyon, and then we're going to, you know, mountain bike down West Ridge, and blah, blah, blah. We're going to do the single tracks.
Right.
Yada, yada. And I'm like, oh, God, I wish, you know, I guess I just was not, you know, I did not grow up in nature.
Right.
And so I was very intimidated. It took me a very long time. I mean,
I understand.
I'm there now, but.
Yeah, well, I have a lot of friends that I had who were city people that were afraid of bugs, and like if they see a spider, they freak out, or a black fly, or you know, anything. Like in Canada, if I take them up to the country for a weekend, they'd be petrified of anything that moved because they're not used to that. You know,
I think, you know, most of them are not so intimidated by the actual act of hiking up the mountain itself because they're all relatively doable. I mean, I get
How
that.
long are the hikes total? Like each time?
We usually go like an hour up, 50 minutes up.
Okay.
So, you know, the whole thing is 2.5 hours, start to finish, with the meditation and the connection and the
nice.
share.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, most beginners can do any of these. They're all very doable, and I keep it, you know, I have all different levels of girls in the group, and the ones that are, you know, more intimidated, who feel like they're slower, they're in the back, there's always those ones that help them. It just always works out somehow, some way.
That's
that
great, yeah.
we're all helping each other through this journey. You know,
that's great.
you don't have to be in the front, you don't have to be in the middle.
So nobody feels left
No
out
one
or
feels
singled
left
out.
out.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
think that could be, you know, something that people would be afraid of feeling
sure.
ashamed of that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
and it's funny because the girls that were in the back at the very end said, "Remember when I started out in the back? And look at me now." You know, they've in the 12 weeks. So it's a 6-week program because I have renewals, and they sign up again for another 6 weeks because we've bonded so much. So by the end of the 12 weeks, these girls are flying up the mountain.
Yeah, so they're like the pack leaders.
Yeah,
That's
it's
so
cool.
cool.
That's really great.
It's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what have you learned the most for yourself then? Because you said you changed careers.
I did.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about the career change that you made. Like you said, your first job, and I read this on your website, that first job of yours was your dream job.
Yeah.
But clearly that was not your dream job. So what changed in your mind? Did it all have to do with your mom, or?
Well, I worked for the Hollywood Reporter for 10 years before I had kids. And it was really, if you had to cut out a job, it was the job for me, because I'm a very people person. I love being around people and connecting and being around them all the time. And so
what was your job
I
there?
sold ad space.
Okay, that's what I thought you were going to say.
Yeah. So it was
I see that in you.
Do you? Yeah, it's so funny.
Girl.
Wow.
Well, you came in here with like your flyers and your posters.
Yeah, you're prepared.
Pretty
really
much
prepared.
I'm sure with that job
I could hardly get the water bottles out on time.
I pretty much was able to predict what job you had at the Reporter.
That's so funny. Yeah. So I had to sell an intangible, and it's like buying air. You know, you're buying something I'm not giving you anything. You just have to trust me and think that it's going to get, people seeing it.
Right.
So that really taught me a lot about myself, that, I feel like I have this this ability to just connect with people on a different level. And I think working with all these post-production companies, that's who I worked with. I flew all over the world. I met with all of them. It was just so exciting, and it was a whole new world to me, because I come from, I'm born in New York myself.
Oh, yeah, we're both from New York.
We're both from New York. But I moved out to California when I was 16. So moving to LA was a whole different world for me. And it was like I had fire in my belly. I really wanted to just see what this city was about. And I fell into this job, and it taught me so much about myself and how I loved being at the top of my game. And I had a enormous account base. I think I had over 2 million clients. It was amazing.
What? Oh, wow. $2 million or $2 million in
$2 million, sorry. Account
it was
base.
2 million clients. I was like,
$2 million of account base.
You need a few assistants to run that Rolodex.
I needed an entire country to help me.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
But it was so fun, and I met so many people and learned a lot about the entertainment industry and how to put a feature film together from start to finish, and it was fun.
That's cool.
It was really fun.
So when you said you were a stay-at-home mom, you completely stopped working?
I did. It was hard, though.
I was going to say, how did you do that transition, being such a go?
It was not easy.
Connective person?
Very good question. Yeah. So a friend of mine, so I was pregnant and I was working full time, and my boss, who was like my second mom, I was really close to her. She said, just take all the time you need for off, and you can have a year off maternity leave. Just take your time with your baby and come back when you're ready. And so that whole time I knew in my gut that I was going to stay at home with him, and I had to read this book called Surrendering to Motherhood. And a friend of mine recommended this book, and it just really validated in me what I already knew, was to stay at home with my baby. And so I chose to do that. It was not easy to hand over all those accounts, but honestly, it was the best decision I made, is raising my kids. For me, that to see who they are now and to witness raising them to who they are. My mom was a stay-at-home mom.
I was just going to ask you if your mom was a stay-at-home.
Yeah, so she was really that role model in my head to be home. We all have roles.
Did you ever feel disconnected, like you were losing grasp of what was going out in the world because you were so hands-on? And
you lose your identity.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about this in my program as a stay-at-home mom, because you become a mom, and you're your kid's mom, and you forget who you are for so long, and you kind of put your hopes and dreams on, not everybody, but I did, on the back burner to throw yourself. I dove into it like a vengeance. I did. I do everything.
Well, my mom did the same thing with me.
Yeah.
Gave up everything and just focused on me. And it's healthy and it's unhealthy in a way, you have to have something else.
Yeah.
I think we all have to have something else, but it's so hard to do.
It is.
And I
hard
think
to
it's
do.
the hardest job to do, actually.
The hardest job.
I commend that.
It's hard, and it gets lonely at times.
Of course it does, yeah.
Yeah, so, and losing my mom, it was a very hard first 5 to 10 years. And,
sure.
It's...
Well, it never goes away, really. It's always like an open wound somewhere inside.
Yes, yes.
Never closes fully.
Definitely not. No.
But I guess you have to stay spiritually connected. and
That's
believe
it.
that things are happening. What happened with you, and you're hiking and bonding with these women is maybe coming from your mom.
I completely think
that
it
she's
is.
being guiding you in some
for sure.
form.
She
Yeah.
definitely is
Yeah.
guiding me. Yeah.
How old were your kids when you decided to do this hiking program?
My son, I've been doing it for 2 years. So he's 20, he's 18, and my daughter was 16.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So I kind of felt like the empty nest was coming.
Gotcha.
And I felt this pull to do it.
Pre-planning. I love that in a person.
And your husband, was he busy working a lot?
Yes, he's an attorney. He has his own
Okay,
firm.
Right.
Mhm.
So you're really managing everything in the house.
I manage
A to
everything in
Z.
the house. Yeah. But he's a very good man, and I met my best friend, and he's my rock, and got me through all those
that's great.
really hard times. And we're looking forward to this next chapter, but it's not easy. A lot of things have come up for me this year with my daughter graduating. It's like the loss of my mom kind of went into the loss of
Right.
my daughter
Right,
leaving, and
yeah.
and it's interesting how all these feelings came back to.
Well, because it is a loss.
Yeah.
It's a loss of your children moving forward and not needing you as much
Right.
hands-on anymore.
Right.
And you having to learn to let go again.
Exactly.
That's really hard. I mean, I think my mom felt that too when, I kind of
she
picked up
did.
and moved to LA, and, we were best friends. We were together all the time. And all of a sudden,
Exactly.
she's going through her menopause years, the worst time, and she's losing me. And that really was a hard thing for her to do.
Yeah,
to
and
take.
when I look back,
Yeah.
my mom too, and
Yeah.
and now
It's always at the worst time of your life.
exactly,
And now we're there.
and now we're there.
And now we're going through it, and we're like, oh.
Exactly.
It's that glow on our faces. It's not that it's hot in here. It's our hot flashes.
Yeah.
I'm always,
I love those hot flashes.
it is hot in here, though. We have no air conditioning.
It is hot.
I'm not even sure if I remember to.
Would you like?
Did I put deodorant
You're
on?
going to talk about something you like after.
Something I
That's
did
quite
too.
like this.
I'm trying to remember if I put deodorant on. I don't smell anything. I think I'm using deodorant that has no. Yeah.
We do these things.
She couldn't wear deodorant for like weeks, so I had to smell
Yeah.
her
I
armpits
got a
regularly.
kind of a problem.
She had an awful looking armpit rash.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
Yeah.
I have a good deodorant if you want to know about it.
Yes.
is it?
Well, this is your love fest.
It's called Real Purity, and I've turned so many women. See, we learn all this with tips from all these women.
There you go.
So the one deodorant that we all learned was Real Purity. It's organic, and you will never smell, because I'm sweating right now.
And your armpits aren't wet?
And it doesn't matter. I've been through hikes, through 10-mile hikes. I've been through 4-mile hikes.
Wow.
And you do not smell.
Real Purity.
That was a free ad right there.
There you go.
Well, we're
Real
going to try
purity.
it. We're going to
Yeah.
try it because I'm trying some natural ones, and
Yeah.
they don't really
You'll
stop
like
anything.
Trust me. Let me know how you like it.
Okay, I
you
will.
get on Amazon.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
will.
we talk
I'll try
about
it.
every time we find a product that we
Yeah.
love. Yeah. Oh, and like this water. I mean, I know everybody knows.
I've never seen that one.
You've never seen the buy?
No.
This brand. You've never
I've
seen or
been-
this flavor.
I've never seen
Drinking
the
this for a
brand.
couple of years now.
So I always drink Tata's water because
Yeah.
for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is awesome.
She asked
Is
me if I
it?
want water, and then as soon as I get in the
Coconut water?
Yeah.
It is, but it's got a nice taste. It tastes like a little flavored, but it's
Yeah.
all natural, and I think it's only 5 calories.
So there you go. We learned about deodorant and
and
coconut
it
water.
gives you a little energy boost.
I don't like regular coconut water, so when this was all she had in her fridge, I was like, oh, maybe I'll.
Regular coconut water tastes like urine.
Yeah, I'm like, maybe I'll
Really?
just dehydrate.
It does. It tastes like salty urine or something.
Yeah, like I'll just dehydrate. I'm not going to drink any of that Coco Vita stuff.
Not
No
that I ever
offense.
drank urine, but I would assume that it's sort of.
You would if you got lost on a hiking trail for 3 days.
I drink
Yeah.
the Harmless Harvest one, which I like.
Okay.
You don't like that one?
No, I don't like
Okay.
coconut water. The taste has a funky taste to it, but
Okay.
It tastes.
this
to
is
me,
really good.
It tastes a little bit like sweat.
Like
No, that's
sweat.
it. Sweat is urine. It's the same thing, right?
Yeah, it tastes a little bit like
Uric acid or whatever.
So this was definitely the best flavor that
Right, I'm gonna
I've
check it out.
Yeah, it's the best flavor that I've tasted. Well, looks like we're already getting into our Love Fest and Bitch Fest.
I know.
Awesome. I
We're
love
already
11
started.
Bitch Fest.
What
Well,
a-
that's my love fest right there.
Yeah, and what a transition that was. So, do we have anything to bitch about? Well, before we get to the Love Fest and Bitch Fest, and
Yeah.
we've already discussed a little bit of our loving our armpit smell. Tell everybody where they can find you, Lisa.
Okay, so my website is lisataitleman.com.
And-
TAITELMAN.com. And, or you can email me at ltaitleman@yahoo. And that's really all my information is on my website.
You're on Facebook too.
And I'm on Facebook and Instagram.
And your information is also on Facebook.
Yes. Facebook and Instagram.
Because we became Facebook friends before we met in person.
Yes, we did.
Because we have common friends.
Facebook's been great for me.
I really like the idea that these women just gravitated towards you and go on these hikes with you.
Yeah.
And I know, like, I'm a golfer. I play golf with my husband. And when I'm out on the golf course, it's not because I play well or I don't. I just love being disconnected from everything.
Exactly.
My focus is just doing what I'm doing. You're playing against yourself. You're hiking for yourself.
Exactly.
I used to do a lot of hiking too, and and cross country skiing when I was a kid and whatnot. And it's just so great because no matter how crappy you feel, the minute you go out there, you're a changed person when you come back.
Exactly.
It really is the best
You
medicine.
just described the entire program
there
right
you
there.
go. Okay.
Well, I do want
Perfectly done. Thank you.
Since I'm the exercise science nerdy geek of the group, I do need to tell this to the ladies out there. I mean, I'm a gym rat. I've always loved the gym. I've always loved just playing with those toys. But and then I didn't become an outdoor person until several years after I moved to LA. And then I lived in Colorado for a few years, so you have to be.
Love Colorado.
It's mandatory. I mean, you can't. They won't even let you in. Like, they actually check your abilities to hike outside before you even move
So
there.
true.
Yeah, it's like at the border. And do you hike? Okay. Can I see your boots, please? How much Columbia footwear do you have? Okay, come on in.
So true.
It's so crazy.
It is.
But so I became that person. But I can honestly tell you, as someone who has been working out since my college days, I started working out like towards the end of college, and there is no comparison. And research has actually been done on our brains and our psyche, the difference between exercise indoor and the exercise outdoor, and whether or not you're just taking a leisurely stroll with your dog or you're actually getting a good sweat on. There's something so different between doing that outside or inside. So you can be just doing your leisure time in your house, or you can be doing your leisure time outside, and if it's green in that area, there's something happens inside your brain.
Completely.
And that has been true. And it's amplified 10 times if you're doing actual exercise outside in the green. So one reason I teach an outdoor boot camp, not at Equinox, I teach a weekly outdoor boot camp for that
Great.
very same reason, in the most beautiful park I could find in LA. Tons of green and trees and shade.
Nice.
And yeah, people are just addicted to it because not that our workout's any different than we would do inside the gym, it's just in that environment of nature.
I 100% agree.
Yeah, it's a
There's
totally
a lot
different-
of research about how it helps your brain and
Totally.
yeah, kids with ADHD and depression and stress. There's
Absolutely.
so much research about being outdoors in nature.
And that's the biggest problem with technology today. It's keeping the kids inside doing not enough physical activity.
Exactly.
It's that's the thing I have against it.
They think they're depressed from watching all their friends' fake lives on Facebook.
Yeah.
No, it's all the time that you're sitting around watching a computer screen and not being outside.
And your phones.
Right.
Yeah,
Your
exactly. It's not
phones
what you're watching,
That's
it's how you're
right.
watching it.
Or the games that you're playing. Like, I mean, it's okay to play a couple,
Exactly.
but some of them are addicted, and that's all they do,
That is all they do. Yep.
And I just feel that, that's...
It's unfortunate.
Take your iPad to a park.
Take your iPad. Yeah, no, but, when you have a fight with somebody or you're angry or you had a little something, you say, I have to go get some air to clear my head. I mean, that's the
For
whole
sure.
theory about it.
Exactly.
It's like clear
Exactly.
your
Constantly
head.
telling my kids to go on hikes with me and just go on a hike and get outdoors or just whatever it is. Be outdoors. Walk the dog. Whatever it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my
Thank
parents
God they're
gave me
good
no
about
choice.
being
It was
outside.
like, you were doing it,
Yeah.
too bad.
Yeah.
All right, so everybody, look up Lisa's
Right,
website,
yeah.
and you're doing 6-week programs, and you do them how many times a year?
So I have 4 programs. I do one in the fall, which is coming up in September. I do one in the winter, 2 in the spring, and I do not offer summer because of the snakes.
Because of rattlesnakes.
Yes.
Okay, good
Or
to
the
know.
heat. I wanted to ask you a question. Do you know how many miles you're walking on your hikes? Do you ever clock it?
It's usually 3.5 to 5.
Oh, good.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
We love that.
Yeah, from
Yeah.
a fitness perspective,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
perfect.
It's usually about that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bitch Fest.
Bitch Fest.
Okay.
We didn't do it yet, did we?
No, we're about to bitch right now.
Oh, my
So-
God.
Cool.
And Lisa agreed with me on this. So I was talking to one of our previous guests who we talked about goddess culture. She had done a documentary series called The Rise of Venus. So watch that episode with Melanie Hudson. And it's all about goddess culture and how women are starting to move back into goddess religions versus Judeo-Christian religions. Very interesting stuff. And we were talking the other day. She said, I I feel very balanced. Like my social life and my dating life and my work life are all very balanced. And I said, awesome. And then the following week I saw her again, and she goes, you know what? When I'm feeling very balanced, I'm not getting anywhere. Like, that's exactly what balance is.
Perfect. Exactly.
So
That's
fuck
funny.
that balance noise.
Yeah.
Right? There is no such thing as work-life balance.
There's no
if
such
your
thing.
work-life balance, you are stagnant. Is what I
Exactly.
feel. So I feel like to be moving forward, right? I feel like to be moving forward,
Well-
we have to, either the work or the social life, one of those has to do more than the other. Because I
agree.
remember I was a professional single person. I'm still single, but I've been with the same man for 9 years. But I was professionally single, and I looked at dating as my part-time job because I wanted to, it was very important to me to find the right person to settle down with, because I have 7 marriages between my parents.
Wow.
And
Gosh.
Wow.
yeah, it was a big deal. I was like, why don't do a little research, get to know yourself,
Right.
don't jump into things. I understand women have biological time clocks, but to me it was most important to find that person I could be with forever.
Right.
So when it was time for me to say, all right, now I'm ready to commit and settle down, I had to start looking at my dating life as my primary focus. I had to find the right person. And I know you can't rush it, but anyway, same thing with a career. You can't rush it. I mean, some people might get promoted ahead of you. You can't really control what's
Right.
going to happen in a work environment. So I had to put extra effort into my social life. And that meant that I had to back off a little bit from my dating life. And the way I looked at it was like, if I'm a 100% person, I can't be a 130%
Right.
person, right? If we're going to look at reality, so I have to put 70% into social and dating and 30% into work, or 60-40, whatever the percentage was, because I wasn't going to get anywhere if I did 50-50. You know,
I understand.
you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
so work-life balance.
Yeah.
I mean, we just have to stop saying that to me. Just
Yeah.
don't ever say that word to me again.
There's no such thing as balance. I mean, you just, to me, it's finding the joy, what brings you joy in your life, and just doing that.
You want to do more of that? Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Yes.
more live the moment, because you don't know, like what lies ahead really, and
No.
you can't control it anyway.
I mean, look, I lost my mom at such a young
Yeah.
age, and
Yeah.
you did too.
Yeah.
And so you have to do, I'm always telling my kids this, you have to do what you love. And I know that's easier said than done. But when you do that, everything else, it affects your relationships. It affects how you act with your husband or your partner or your kids or your dog or yourself. You have to be joyful and do what makes you happy. I do this a lot in my groups. We have to do what makes us happy. We do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Put
I
it at the
find,
top of
and
your list
part
every
of
day.
my little bitch fest thing is along the lines of you, is that life gets very complicated.
It does.
You start off with your parents who take care of you, and then you're cast out into this world, and then you have a marriage and you have children, and it's not even about you anymore, it's about everybody else. And
Right.
how do you find that me time? Because that's part of the balance.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. There is no
Yeah.
such thing as, if something's balanced, it is even. And there's no way that you can give an even amount of it. Look at that.
You just did it.
If you could do a handstand on that, I'd be really impressed.
This is why there's no way that you can just stay in that homeostatic
No.
place where everything you're saying 33% of your life is for your husband or your family, 33.5% is for your work, and 33.5% is for, or 33 and a third, sorry, math.
Yeah.
I'm good at science, not so good at math. 33 and a third percent of each. You can't you can't make it exactly.
No.
I mean, as someone who's also a health and nutrition coach too, getting people to eat a balanced meal. I mean, it's like, just look at your meals. How balanced are they? It's like, you rarely ever get that perfect plate.
Right, exactly.
Without hiring a nutritionist to do it for you.
And not to put so much pressure on yourself to have it all balanced.
Yeah.
Because there's, I don't know anyone in my life who has it. There's no person that has it all together always. We all have life issues that happen. We all have pain. We all experience things in our life all the time. And, I always say, if we all put our troubles and our problems into the center of the room, we would be happy to take our own back.
That's true. Because
That's
people always think everybody has it better than them.
Yeah, they all think
oh, if only I was
comparison.
like them.
Comparison is like the death of
Or they have the
joy.
best
thief of
job, or they have the
happiness.
best
Yeah,
home,
yeah.
or
It's the thief of joy.
yeah,
Comparison.
it definitely is.
So I I really believe that if you do what you love and love what you do, there's nothing better. And, just be thankful, be grateful in your life, because there's so much to be grateful for. And it's really a big, the loss of my mom has taught me this, that you have to take every day and not take it for granted, and just know that every day you wake up is a gift. And
that's what I say. Every day is a gift.
Every day is a gift.
Everything's working.
Yep.
You get out of bed.
Healthy, wood.
Because it's about as good as it's going to get at this point.
Yeah.
Really.
And you are your own creator. You get to decide what you want in your life. We all do. We make our decisions what we want.
Or how you cope with things, because I think coping with things gives us, our anxieties, our stresses. Like, we have to manage that.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
women are badass.
Oh, yeah.
That's for sure.
Oh, my God.
One of these self-help gurus said that anxiety comes from, thinking too much about the future and fear of the future, and depression comes from regrets and thinking too much and pondering too much about the past, or ruminating too much about the past.
And then you have both.
And then you have Eckhart Tolle, and then you have Eckhart Tolle, who teaches us to be in the present if we're going to drop guru
Well, I
names.
think you have to, you have to accept your what is, and we always expect more. That's human nature.
Instant gratification.
Exactly, and more so today because of the fact that you can get everything you want in a minute.
Exactly.
So I think that I hate the fact that we're accessible to people 24 hours a day now. I mean, when we didn't have cell phones, people left a message and you got to them when you got to them.
Exactly.
Today,
we were better off.
Yeah, I think this is creating a higher stress society.
I agree with you. And it causes, this next generation to not have conversations like this.
No.
Because they're on their phones so much, and that's how they communicate. And it's sad.
Often I see young couples at a restaurant and they're texting on their phones and they're not even speaking to each other.
That makes me crazy. That makes me crazy.
Because they're working, or they're Instagramming.
Yeah.
Or they're posting their latest podcast.
Things that they all want to have there.
They're doing the keyword search for their latest podcast. Sorry, honey, I'll be right with you. Can I have some French fries? Okay. Love Fest.
Woo!
Love Fest.
My infrared sauna. It's a life changer.
I have to try that. Everybody keeps talking about it.
That's because, speaking of balance and depression and anxiety and things that and it gets worse as we get older, because it's actually proven that once we hit menopause or perimenopause years, that our anxiety increases and our depression increases. Because Mother Nature's trying to get rid of us, I guess.
Put us out to pasture.
Oh, we read a great article on this. We'll have to talk about in one of our mini casts. But so infrared sauna. One thing that sauna does, whether it's all the research I've read is on Finnish sauna. So those ones with the rocks and the lule, the water thing.
Water.
Yeah.
Steam.
The lelu. I'm not Swedish or Finnish. But so the Finnish sauna is what we were trying to get. So we were pricing them out for a couple of years, because in 2015, a really large study came out on middle-aged men that was run by a cardiologist, and it was an incredibly beautiful study. It's an elegant study. And it showed that their mortality decreased, so 60% decrease in all-cause mortality. So in other words, you just live healthier and die for less reasons the more sauna time you do. And it was a 175-degree sauna. Anyway, that was this very big study, seminal study.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so if you want to read about it, you can search Finnish sauna study, and the researcher was a doctor named Jari Laurison. Incredible study, and you can just read articles if you don't want to actually read the 50-page report. And then he did a follow-up study on that, and actually decreases Alzheimer's disease too by 60%, depending on how much you do it. So on the low end, you'll get maybe a 20, 30, or 40% reduction, up to a 60% decrease in all-cause mortality and Alzheimer's risk.
Wow.
Yeah. So basically, just live longer. And go figure. I mean, and again, this is Finnish sauna. We got an infrared sauna, and it decreases anxiety, decreases depression, and raises heart rate. So you're actually getting cardio. So now I wear my heart rate monitor, and my heart rate is anywhere, when I first get in there, maybe in the 60s. Then it goes up to the 80s, and then if I'm getting up and doing stretches and stuff, my heart rate will get up to 113, 120, which is where I am when I'm actually doing light cardio.
Wow.
So imagine you're in the sauna for 20, 30, 40 minutes.
And it's a workout.
Your heart is getting a workout, which is why this cardiologist did this study, I believe. And so you
how long are you in there?
Well, in the infrared, you can do it longer. So the difference between a finished sauna and infrared sauna, if you just want the quick primer, is a finished sauna with the hot rocks. That heats up the air to whatever you set it for, 175 degrees is what was in the study. That's what was in the study. You get in there, and then your body, heats up. The infrared sauna works on waves, infrared waves. Oops, sorry, that's my notes, which I don't need anymore. But it works on infrared waves, so it actually doesn't heat up the air so much as your body. So it's comfortable to go in there. The 140 degrees that we have it set to. Yeah, but it goes into your body, so it heats up your body more than the actual air. So it doesn't necessarily feel like 140 degrees in the air so much as you feel 140 degrees heat in your body. So it's interesting.
So what have you noticed? What effects have you noticed?
The instant effect is my skin looks amazing. I sleep like a baby because as we're at this age, it's harder and harder to sleep once we start losing estrogen. And then, we get more aches and pains from arthritis. We get more muscle cramps.
What about high blood pressure? Like, does it cause any kind of inflammation?
Lowers it. Well,
if you have high blood pressure, let's say.
I believe it decreases. We'll have to look at again, so the study was done on, I can't stress enough, the study was done on 2,000 middle-aged men in a finished sauna, minimum 20 minutes at 175 degrees.
Oh my God.
That was the study. So so the theory is that you'll get similar benefits will be conferred, to use science terms, if you're using the infrared sauna, and infrared saunas go up to 140 or 150 degrees. Instantly, my skin looks incredible. I sleep like a log. My aches and pains, I have a lot of arthritis. I feel nothing when I go to bed, and I get a lot of I get night sweats, and I've had menopause since I was 9 because
Since you're 9.
It's been a very long menopause.
That explains a lot.
I should definitely be in a medical.
That's a long time to be in menopause.
I should definitely be in some medical journals.
But when did the mental pause start?
The mental pause started.
The mental
I
pause.
forgot.
There you go.
So
Take more saunas.
Yeah, and it does. It helps clear your brain because it does. They found that it affects the decrease of the incidence of Alzheimer's. What was the question?
High
I'm
blood
kidding.
pressure.
High blood pressure.
I think it does help with high blood pressure. So something else that happens is it builds. So one of the reasons why women get fitter when they're hiking with you is that they're also dealing with a shock to the system, something different, something that's a shock.
Right.
And so by increasing shock to the system in small doses, going a little bit beyond your comfort zone, it actually gives you a different type of strength. So in the case of sauna, or in case of doing, you talked about ice cold showers. It's called a heat shock protein or a cold shock protein.
Something I could use right now.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's that shock to the system. It's called a heat shock protein, and it actually makes your body more virulent. Can I say that?
Mental pause.
Yeah. It makes you more virulent. Nuclear. Yeah, so it just makes you,
So
it
you
makes you
glow.
stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you develop this strength and resiliency. So that's probably the better word. It makes you more resilient.
Yes.
Right, because obviously, what did the soldiers do in Afghanistan and Iraq when they're in the desert in 120 degrees?
Yeah.
With all their equipment and whatnot.
Right. So same thing's happening to them. They're building up this body's resiliency, and same thing when you're hiking. You're pushing yourself past your comfort zone. Yeah. So that push past the comfort zone is incredible for you. So that's not something that you see, but what I see is the skin. What I feel is the sleep. Less aching. It reduces inflammation. It's incredible stuff. And I do believe it works on high blood pressure. We'll have to look at that study.
I was just saying, if you have high blood pressure, are you able to even go in a sauna?
Yeah, because your heart, stirs up your heart rate.
It's hard
That's a
on
good
your heart.
question.
Yeah, on your.
Yeah, you never.
Yeah, but
And inflames. Does it inflame?
it doesn't inflame. It's anti-inflammatory.
Yeah.
Anti-inflammatory. Well, it sounds fabulous. How often do you do it?
Well, we have it in our backyard. We bought one.
Oh, you bought one.
A physical one that fits 4 people, which it
Wow.
really only fits 2. So I try to do it most days of the week, so half the week.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and then a couple of other days at the gym I use the steam room.
And how long are you in there for each time?
40 minutes.
Oh, wow.
40 to 45.
That's
Yeah.
pretty good because I think I've taken saunas. I could only last 15 minutes.
You have to
me
build
too.
up to it.
I'm like
Not even
hyperventilating.
15
I'm
for
like,
me.
It's
Yeah.
resiliency. You
Reminds
build
me of
up.
the
Yeah.
desert. Just like there was
Yeah.
a reason why I didn't like the Arizona because of that.
yeah, it's just too intense.
Yeah, it's intense.
And you know what? I was
That's
brought
true.
up. My mom didn't believe in air conditioning growing up.
Oh, really?
She thought the Freon and all that it was toxic. So she didn't use air conditioning, and we always had hot house in the summer because it's really hot and humid in Canada in the summer.
Wow.
It's like Florida.
Yeah.
So, you just either took a cold shower or you jumped in the lake when we were in the country. But, I slept with no sheets or anything because it was really hot. So,
Oh, yeah. So
Wow.
speaking of, it actually makes me sleep much better. I don't at night when I do sauna before I go to bed, I do not get night sweats.
Interesting.
And
well,
the-
that's a huge bonus.
Yeah, well, there's there's
Right?
a very famous, the most famous researcher on sleep who wrote the book Why We Sleep, Matthew Walker. He's a professor and researcher at the University of Berkeley. He wrote that book Why We Sleep. He's the most brilliant, best known researcher on sleep. So I heard him on Peter Attia's podcast. So I got the podcast I watch. Not a bunch of women talking about menopause, but a bunch of scientists interviewing each other. So I geek out on that stuff. And so Matthew Walker said he thinks that sauna is great for people who have sleep problems or hot showers, very hot showers before you go to bed, because as soon as you walk out, your skin cools down, your whole core temperature cools down because all your blood comes up to the top of your skin, and then you walk outside of it and like instantly everything just cools
Well,
off.
it's like that whole Nordic thing where you could take a hot sauna, then you jump in the ice water.
Right.
Yeah.
After.
Yeah, that's another great thing to do. But specifically this, just heating up and then my body just cooling off right after prevents me from getting night sweats. And every night that I don't do it, I still have night sweats.
Wow, that's really
That's
good.
so interesting.
That is
Wow.
interesting.
Okay, my left fest, I'm done. Your
Well,
turn.
maybe you've sweat everything out by that time.
It's not that.
There's nothing left to
It is
sweat.
definitely, he is definitely right. It is the skin cooling.
It's the
I
skin
feel
cooling,
that.
right.
Yeah. All right, that's my love fest. Did
That's
you have
a
one?
good love
Was your
fest.
love fest by?
I did. I talked about bi. I was going to talk about the ice roller, which we talked about on one of our mini segments.
Oh,
just
yes.
again, because I could use it right now. I'm loving that ice roller, which
Do you
is
use
just,
an ice roller?
It's a
No.
stainless steel roller. It looks like
See, this is what I love. Ice roller. I've seen it on. Don't they have it on Facebook? They show it on.
yeah, you can buy it on Amazon. I have one
Yeah.
that I really love, and you just keep it in the freezer. And when you're really hot, or or you're feeling tired, or you're going to somewhere after a hard day's work, and you just want to look refreshed, you just roll it on under your eyes, on your neck, behind your neck.
Love.
And I love that thing, and especially now that it's getting hot in the summer. I mean, I find that my go-to thing. So, and it also helps with
Could use that
tension
right now,
and
right?
headaches. Oh, we need it here. Yeah, so that was part of it. But now I've done the bi thing, so.
You have beautiful skin. Both of you.
Oh,
have
thank
beautiful
you.
Skin.
Thank you. So do you.
Oh, thank you.
Healthy glow.
Healthy glow.
Yeah.
Menopause works for the skin, I guess, and I don't know.
Does it
I'm
really?
definitely going through it
I
right
have
now.
very dry skin. I've always had dry skin.
Yeah.
Never
I
had
have
acne.
dry skin, dry hair.
Dry hair, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
bi
But
team.
you have beautiful skin, the both of you.
Oh,
Thank you. Well, okay, another love fest. We're double love
We're love
festing.
festing each other.
We're
right
double-
now.
Skin is a big thing, it's our number one organ.
Yeah.
You know that?
The largest organ.
The largest, that's what I meant. The largest organ. Not the
My number one largest organ.
The thing is not to put too much product on your skin. Like once you wash off your makeup and everything,
Yeah.
I know they try to sell you into all these creams and things, but less is more.
Less is more.
Because you just don't want to clog your pores. It is your biggest living organ, and you want to keep it as clean as possible.
I agree.
So,
Well, that's
I
what the
agree.
sauna is so great about. You sweat everything
Great for
out.
your skin.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, so is the steam room, but the sauna
well,
is
you also have
better.
a steamer you can use just on your face, where you can buy it and you just put your head.
I do both.
Yeah.
The sauna works better.
Yeah, for
Hands
sure.
down, the sauna is better.
I'm going to have to try that sauna.
You wouldn't
Yeah.
think, but
No.
you wouldn't think that. You would think that the steam is better because when you get a facial, they steam your face.
Yeah.
I can absolutely attest, study N1, that it is better than the steam for my skin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because my pores, it's crazy. My pores open. I sweat like a crazy person. I walk out of that sauna. By the time I've showered and looked in the mirror, all my pores have tightened up
Well,
and
definitely,
closed.
if you go from that sauna into a really cold shower.
No,
your
I take a hot
skin will
shower
be
too.
Super tight.
I take a hot shower too. I go from a hot sauna to a hot shower.
Wow.
And then I come out and my skin is as tight as can be and my
have to try
pores
that.
are all
But
closed.
for
We love
shiny
tight.
hair and shiny skin, or like nice skin,
Yeah.
if you take an ice cold shower, like when you shampoo your hair and all that, you can do your warm shower. At the end, get a blast of ice cold as you can take it. You'll have shinier hair. Your skin will
Okay.
be more radiant. It really does work. That
Awesome.
hot to cold thing. Definitely,
Love.
yeah.
And today I am wearing Chanel makeup.
Chanel. You don't even look like you have
the
makeup
aqua, what's it called? Vital
Aqua Lumiere.
Aqua Lumiere.
on. We'll have to get that.
You
too.
shake it up. It's very light.
Yeah.
And so it's like it's like a very liquid, and you pour it out into your hand, and I just rub it on, and it's so light. I don't even feel like I'm wearing makeup.
Well, I tried something new. I tried this Dior Air Flash. I don't know if you've ever tried it. It's a spray.
We're
They
gonna have
use
to-
it
I
on
should be taking notes right
We'll,
now.
use
we'll
it
put this
on-
on the show notes.
red
right.
carpet, and they use it on. And you can. It's very thin spray, and I put it on my hand. And I just dab it. So you can put it as heavy as you want or as light as you want. And it's very breathable, and it gives you flawless, luminous skin. So maybe my skin's looking really good to you right now.
It
Make
looks
notes
really
on
good.
this.
I have to seriously
Yeah.
write.
We're gonna write all
Dior
this.
Air Flash, yeah.
Dior Air Flash.
Yeah.
Okay. And is it a color?
My makeup artist, who we're going to have on our show, he's the one who turned me onto it. He says he's been turning everyone onto it.
Ooh.
So it's like
Wow.
something I'm trying, and you know.
Your skin looks amazing.
Oh well, thank you. Yeah, and
but
it's so
you're
fine.
born with that skin. Right? You have beautiful skin.
Wow. It's wrinkling in places that I don't
No,
want.
it's
It's
No,
getting
it's
crepey, like places we didn't
I don't
protect,
see
like our
any
neck.
wrinkles.
You know.
No.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we have a big conversation about necks.
We talk a lot about necks.
I know. I'm always like, we get so like, all of a sudden you wake up, you're like, that wasn't there yesterday.
I
You
know.
Like, what happened here?
The good news is some men actually notice it on themselves too. So it's
Yeah.
not like it's lost on men. They just don't discuss it
Yeah.
ad nauseum like women do.
Yeah, but they
It's
get
a
away
big
with it.
topic in it right now for all of us
Oh,
because
yeah.
it's like you notice things that you didn't notice so much before.
that you never had before.
Yeah.
You wake up one day, you
Good
sleep
old
with
gravity.
You sleep with the pillow in your face or something, and you have a permanent crease.
I know.
It never goes away.
I know.
You know,
Well,
it's
if you're a
like,
side sleeper, I was reading an article about this that there's reason that this side is more wrinkled than this side is because I sleep on this
That's
side.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like when you think about it, your face is mushed in,
Yeah.
and that's what happens.
Ideally, you're supposed to sleep on your back.
Yeah, but I can't.
I'm pretty sure, I get injections. I get some filler once a year
Yeah.
from my very good friend who is a plastic surgeon. I go to his house. It's very fun.
Yeah.
Hang out, get some shots in your face.
That's good.
And one side of my face is a little flatter than the other. I think from sleeping on that side.
It's
I'm
true,
like,
because
Yeah, it is true.
I feel like, that one side is flatter. I look in the mirror and I'm like, I feel like I'm puffier on this side. Oh, yeah, I slept on the right side.
It's very true because even when
It's
I was
true.
very young and I did some modeling when I was very young, and my photographer and my makeup artist would say, "Oh, you're sleeping on that side of your face," because when they're doing my pictures and they're putting on my makeup, they can tell what side of my face is more indented and what side is fuller. And even when I was
wow.
really young,
Wow.
they said, "Sleep on your back."
I need to get
And I
all the
can't sleep
notes
on
from
my
what we
back.
discussed today. I need to redo my whole routine. I'm feeling.
Lots of amazing tips. I think we're going to have to end it there because I don't think we can overload our audience with any more information.
Too much juice.
We got deodorant. We got so much stuff.
Yeah, we've got
So-
ice rollers, hiking.
Our favorite drink that doesn't taste like armpit sweat.
No armpit
and-
sweat or
and
urine.
No armpit sweat.
Yes.
And yeah, really good tips today. So once again, it was fantastic having you on Fine
Thank
Tuned
you so
Females.
much.
Lisa
Thank you for
Taitleman.
So nice meeting you both.
Wonderful to meet you.
I
And
really enjoyed it.
And
Thank you.
congratulations on your new endeavor and your
Yeah,
new
what you're
passion in
doing is
life.
fantastic.
Thank you so much.
And don't be balanced.
Don't be balanced.
Stay in balance as
The
long as you
takeaway
can.
today: just go out and enjoy your life.
Enjoy the imbalance.
Yes, enjoy the imbalance.
I guess
Let it all go.
We'll see you on the next show.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.